Voices by Megadeth. Not a typical sort of sounding Megadeth song that you might imagine, but anyway, it is a lovely little riff. This is the main section that plays under the verse part of the song. I'll put a link as ever to the music. I'll put a Songsterr and maybe a tab as well, but it's a fairly simple piece, so I don't know if I'll do a tab, but we shall see. Anyway, first things first, the last couple I've done in this series have been in E flat. Don't need to worry about that for this one. This is in normal standard E tuning, so you can play along with your normal guitar. I've decided to use the acoustic guitar because it sounds better for this part. I've decided to finger pick it because it sounds better for this part. My personal choice. You can also play it with a plectrum as well. But I'll split the thing down into probably two separate areas. Again, each hand separately. So in terms of your picking for this, whether you're going to finger pick it or whether you're going to use a plectrum, it doesn't matter. We've got the same pattern playing throughout this entire section. If you look at the music or if you look at the tab, then you will see that you've got a little two-note chord followed by a single note on your G string, two-note chord, single note on your G string, and it follows all the way through that piece. So we've got, for the count of it, we've got 8 notes to play in each bar. So we're going to count 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. So when we count the number, then we're going to play that little two-note chord. So starting with the first bar, it's going to be that chord. I'll go through the chords slightly later, but that's going to be our number count, and the and is going to be that single note on the G string. So 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. So that's the rhythm, if you will, for the part, and that's going to be really important. Get that down, master it, 'cause you have to play that all the way through this riff. Now, in terms of practicing that technique, like I said, I'm using finger picking for it because I think it sounds better for this piece. I actually found it easier. I did try playing it both ways. I used a plectrum, and I found it myself personally easier using finger picking to do it, but you can do it with a plectrum if you're not comfortable doing the finger picking. What I might suggest is, if this is completely new to you and you feel like it's going to be a challenge, maybe practice the picking part before you even get into the chords. And you can do that just on your open strings. So I'm going to use the same pattern. So I'm going to pick, I'll do it with my pick just to show you it can be done. I'm going to pick my B and E strings. That's going to be my chord, so that's the thing that I'm going to get on my 1 count or on my 2 count. And then my G string, that's going to be on the and count. So I don't have to worry about fretting any chords or anything like that. Just to practice, we can do it with the open strings. It'll sound okay because it's half of an E minor chord anyway, so you can get away with it. So think about playing those 2 high strings followed by the G string, and you're going to use exactly the same when we come to put the chord shapes in. So do it with a plectrum. It was even probably slightly faster. It is quite a slow tempo, it's 75 BPM, so you can do that with a plectrum if you're more comfortable doing it that way. But I strongly suggest using it with your fingers, playing it with your fingers, because it'll sound better. And if you're not used to doing it, there's an extra challenge, an extra lesson for you there. The same applies for the picking pattern if you're using your fingers. What I would suggest is I'm going to use my first and my second fingers to pick those high strings, the E string and the B string, and then I'm going to use my thumb to pick the G string. So the pattern I was using, playing exactly the same open strings as what I just did with the plectrum. You can already hear it sounds a little bit softer and a bit more like the feel that I'm going for. If you've not done this before, this isn't a finger picking lesson, but one little technique I use is when I'm doing that, I've also got my little finger sort of anchored somewhere on the guitar, so I've got like a reference point, so I know where my hand is. It's not floating around everywhere as if I was strumming, so that keeps me knowing that my hand's in the right place. for doing that picking pattern. Something you'll have to get used to with experience and a bit of practice, but that's just something that I was doing when I played it. Now, that's your picking sorted out, so you need to do that throughout. All 4 bars of this is 4 bars. When you look at the, if you look at the full music on Songsterr or whatever, the first 2 bars are an introduction where it just plays the same chord, but the sequence actually starts on bar 3, where it rotates through 4 different bars, a slightly different chord for each bar. So I'm going to start on bar 3, which is the start of the sequence that I played at the beginning. So the first chord you're going to play is the way that I've approached it. I've got my 5th fret there on my high E, got my 6th fret on my B string, and then I've got my 7th fret on my G string, and I've just literally gone with my fingers 1, 2, 3. It's almost like a little sort of shape you might use when you're playing a root F chord. My fingers are just all falling into place like that, and that's the first chord of the sequence. That's going to be the entire first bar combined with that picking pattern with those notes. And that's what we're going to play for bar 1. I can't think of another sensible way to finger that. If you're knowledgeable about the theory, that's actually half of like a D minor bar chord. I could play a D minor bar chord. Sorry. So that's the starting reference point for it, but we don't have to put the bar on all that fancy stuff. We can just use those 3 fingers that fit comfortably there, combine with that picking pattern to get us going. So for the next part, so for bar 4, as the song goes, the second bit that we're going to learn, what I'm going to do is I'm going to switch around. I'm going to leave my 3rd finger where it is, and my other 2 fingers I'm just going to switch around. So I'm going to play the 6th fret on my high E and the 5th fret on my B. So my 1st and 2nd fingers are just swapping strings to enable me to do that. So I'm going from and that's half of the piece completed. Now for the 3rd part of it, which is bar 5 on the tab as you're looking at it, what I need to do, those first 2 notes on my E and my B string stay the same, but the note on my G string, the one that I've been playing there with my 3rd finger, on the 7th fret, that needs to be played on the 6th fret. There's a couple of ways you can approach this. One way is to just slide down that finger down to the 6th fret, so rather than playing, I'm going to slide the finger down and it'll become. So you can do it that way. That's probably the simplest way to do it in terms of you moving your fingers around, but sometimes you might end up compromising your other notes. If you can see, I'm really squished up my other 2 fingers there. My high E note, the one that's played there, that's getting pushed right back away from the fret, so that's not particularly good technique. So you might end up, depending on your guitar, your action, your technique, the size of your fingers, it might end up sounding a bit not quite right. So that's one way to do it. That's the simplest A to B route to do it. Another way to do it, to change that position, would be, rather than sliding your finger down, would be to keep your 1st finger where it is, and then swap around your 2nd and 3rd fingers to that shape. So now I've got my 3rd finger playing the 6th fret on my high E. My 1st finger stayed where it is on the 5th fret, and my 2nd finger is now playing 6th fret on my G string to play that shape, which is actually a version of, imagine your D7 shape. It's actually that shape played in a different position. So there's 2 ways of approaching that one. So with what we've got so far, the first one's the easy one, the 1, 2, 3 across the strings. Swap the fingers 1 and 2 around. I decided to go for the D7 shape. Now for the final chord that is in the fourth part of this sequence, or it'll be the, what will it be, the sixth part on the tab. What we've got to do is we've got a fifth string, sorry, we've got a fifth fret on our E string, 7th fret on our B, and 5th fret on our G. So we can either play a bit of an elongated D major chord. So I'm using fingers 1 and 2 on the 5th fret there. I'm stretching up with my 4th finger, which I know a lot of you don't like, up to the 7th fret. Or another way, which is the way that I played it, I played a tiny little bar using my 1st finger, and I know I don't like bars either, and then just use my 4th finger to sit on that 7th fret. Whichever way you finger it, that's using the elongated D shape, using the bar. It sounds exactly the same. Just probably go for whatever's more comfortable for your experience and playing technique. I'm quite comfortable usually playing bar chords. I could do it with that technique as well, either or. It doesn't really matter. So we've got the from the top, from bar 3. Switch those fingers around. Little D7 shape. And then, in my case, do a little bar. Or we can play it. Start in shape, the 1, 2, 3, switch the fingers. The other way is to slide that finger down. And then we can even do that little elongated D. So there's a few different ways you can approach your fingering. Hopefully I've showed you a few different ideas depending on what's going to be comfortable for you there. With the picking, keep it nice in timing. If you need to play along with it, because you can, because it's in standard E tuning, or use your metronome. It's nice and slow, 75 BPM, so don't get overexcited. We're not playing flamenco, we're not trying to impress with speed. This is nice and slow and steady. So make sure all your notes are ringing out and singing clearly, and you're not getting fluff notes. With the plectrum versus fingers, that's entirely down to you, but I'd recommend fingering because A, it sounds better, and B, especially if you're not used to it, it's good practice. It's something else to have a go at. Whichever way you approach it, enjoy.